Today, Precarious plays
Phantom Brave. Even my most basic attacks are highly destructive now. I think that I wanted to just use Morona for a bit to show off, but I can at least use Bookstore. Bookstore's fine. This is a good one because it's that was a speed plus 50% weed.
Yeah.
So see, immediately look at the turn order now. Right?
You have 6 turns to enact your plans.
Honestly, I think that the problem now is that there's no longer, once a phantom is on the field, there's no room for me to wait anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? I've got to go. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I will. All of my phantoms, except for one of them, will probably time out before they have the opportunity to move to me. Let me explain a little bit more about what I did with Morona.
Okay.
So, she ate a lot of phantoms.
Part of a healthy and balanced breakfast.
Yeah, because most of my characters that I used got XP Riser, Mana Monger. Some of them got Made of Money. Healing Steps and Healing Birth I already mentioned. Something else that I did is I wanted to give Morona just like a little extra... Like, Thor's Finger is just a pretty good resistance move. Mm-hmm. So I gave her enough starting, like, nature SP.
Yeah.
To use it, like, a couple times. And that's Thor's Finger is the only move she has that exploits that resource. So it's just 29 that she only uses for lighting people on fire with lightning.
Wow.
Right. And you see all of the numbers there, all of the ones that she uses in the bottom half are pretty high, right?
Yeah.
I did not train that specifically because I knew that I wasn't going to need it. I think that something I wanted to have happen didn't, and that makes me a little sad.
Yeah.
I was hoping that playing it on my own time might give me, like, Item World vibes. Mm-hmm. That never quite happened, except for once when I got a pretty balanced map that had a lot of various creature types, and item types. Mm-hmm. When I did that one, and I was specifically trying to train Morona, it was fun. Like, it was engaging again, because it was not a failure dungeon. I was just fighting against normal, like, high-level stuff, specifically to get Morona up to the levels she's at now. Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing, the failure dungeon doesn't let her level up quite as fast. So that was the next part of the process. After a failure dungeon, I did a regular, just, the enemies started maybe like 5 or 6 levels lower than my phantoms. Mm-hmm. And I basically did some sniping, as it were, with Morona. Like, she would swoop in and get the last hit on strong enemies, right?
Right.
I need to move a little more quickly because that was the whole purpose of this. So if I end up just talking the whole time, then it will have been for nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious to hear how you have managed to so efficiently trivialize all of the gameplay.
Practice. A lot of practice. It is so much that, you know that adage where it's like, if you spent half as much time trying to figure out a way to cheat, if you spent that time studying, then you would pass this test, or whatever it's supposed to be.
If you spent half as much time figuring out how to learn the material as you did trying to cheat on the test, you would still get an A, which I have found to be true.
Nah, that's a dumb phrase. I don't actually agree with it.
Well, maybe I'm just not a very clever cheater, okay?
I didn't cheat often in school, but when I did, it was always very clever. And that's the most important thing, is I never fell into that specific trap we were just talking about, right?
Yeah, like people inventing like Rube Goldberg machines of knowledge presentation. Like somebody like hand cross-stitching all of the answers onto the sleeve of the inner lining of their jacket, and then rolling up their sleeves, for example, would be one totally impractical solution. Like, or rigging a tripwire to
Hold on.
the doorknob.
You're going way out there. Let me just give you a real example, which is the kind of thing I would avoid. Mm-hmm. Trying to involve other people.
End of story.
Yeah, just
Deal
full
breaker.
stop. I saw that fail spectacularly so many times in high school, where people would try to come up with like a knowledge heist, right?
Yeah.
Where everyone was in on this widespread scandal.
And teachers are tired,
And-
but they're not that stupid.
Not even that, it's just whenever you involve that many people, somebody's gonna grow a conscience and screw everything up in the end.
Yeah.
So let me explain something else that I did. I combined the crystal and the vase, right? Hold on, let me...
And now it's a crystal vase.
A little bit. A little bit, yeah. It is.
What is it called? An immortal vase?
Well, that's the other thing. So, I was mistaken before whenever I was talking about failure dungeons and the titles. Mm-hmm. The items still have great titles that are just dependent on the depth of the dungeon. And I got really up there. Like, I got into, like, I think the 50s or 60s on a floor count once.
Wow.
Which, for this kind of grinding, like, is pretty far up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that I got some pretty good titles, and I gave them to the best items and the important characters. So yes, I have an immortal vase. The stats on it are ridiculous. The confine has been boosted up really high, so it is a perfect last-ditch object to put epoxy or January in specifically. Where this is the most important thing. So I used the ridiculous amounts of mana that are on the items from those deep dungeon levels. I fused them onto a crystal, and just ahead of time I unlocked all of the powers, right? And then fused them all at once onto a vase. So that's why it has like this huge, like it has more crystal powers than it has vase powers. And I think Revive and Omega Heal are actually from the title. Anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of antiquing. Done.
And you turned that person into an antique.
What else did I do? Well, this is one important thing. Thanks, Greg. So one thing that happened is that because a lot of, I think that these scale with the character's level. Coco can now make so much money that it makes the earlier problems in the game seem completely trivial just at random.
Yeah.
Right? I just came back to that.
You just got home and they were like, well, we picked up some freelancing gigs and we can have this many new game console.
I can buy the facility where they make the game consoles. Look at the money.
My dad owns Nintendo.
Yes, Morona's new father that she bought with her money owns Nintendo and Sega. How did she do it? No one knows. So this gives you another example of how ridiculous the situation has become. I can walk up to Coco
Yeah.
and buy level 70 items.
Holy butts.
Yeah, I can just buy stuff.
Coco is rolling in the dough.
Like, what is this? It's a lithograph.
It's also
it's ancient.
pleased. It is pleasant. Actually, I shouldn't use other words that are not usually associated, because I'm sure there is a pleasant lithograph. I don't want to confuse anyone.
You know what I just realized?
Is there a pleasant something?
Pleasant maybe, but I actually do have a pleased fusionist.
See? There you go.
You did it. You're exactly right.
That's why I'm so very happy that you have brought this game into my life. Because even though the gameplay of it is probably not something that I would be able to slog through for very long, this is charming as fuck.
I would like to point out that slogging through it's all relative.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I could have kept going on my own time, working a little bit at a time, but it was just taking too long. I'm going to do one quick Castile letter before the end of the episode. You read it, because I've got a frog in my throat.
That cute little creature is doing fine. I named it Mocha. What do you think? Isn't that an adorable name? I'm starting to teach Mocha something, and it might be enough to get the necklace back. Mocha and I will keep our plan a secret for now, just to keep you guessing.
Is that a weird mistake?
K-I-T. Keeping it tight.
Keep in touch. Keep in touch. That's what it is.
do you
K-I-T. Killer Internet Time Bombs. This is my favorite game, the fake acronym game.